create your future in 2023. Today, Dr. Pillai will be sharing special teachings and techniques from 3 key modules of quantum thinking that you can use to open up to new possibilities and change your life now. And later in the program, we're going to be updating you on Dr. Pillai's upcoming teaching sessions and empowerments, including his session on New Year's Day on quantamizing SHREEM BRZEE. He also has another session on the Vedic solstice, and on January 1st, his new program, Manifesting Through Quantum Thinking, starts. So welcome, Dr. Pillai. Thank you so much for joining us today. And let's start with the first module of the quantum physics of negativity and positivity.
Why do we care about quantum thinking? Even before that, what is quantum thinking? Simply put, quantum thinking is a subtle or the subtlest thinking. Quanta is the finest matter. So your thoughts should become the subtlest. And when you are at the subtlest level, reality changes. Now we are living in 2022, where the scientists have proved that the observation decides the particle. The particle is non-existent until it is observed. And this is a very important and a practical concept within quantum physics. A particle doesn't exist at all until you recognize that particle is there. Until you recognize, it's a recognition. I can go about talking about it, bringing in Plato, bringing in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras and Vasishta, all these people. I will do it in the one-year program, but for now, for you to understand, quantum thinking is the subtlest form of thinking, or the very innermost part of your existence thinks that you are poor, or I cannot change the reality that I am living in. And that is what you are doing at the quantum level. At the quantum level of your consciousness, you are thinking that I am dependent on this person, or I am dependent on this job, and it is not going to change. My apartment, I will continue to live in this apartment because I don't have money. I don't have this, I don't have that. And that is really what most people are doing to themselves at the quantum level. And the only way that you can change your life, change your fortune, is by understanding the principle and owning responsibility that you have created this after all. And the best, comfort comes from, or the fulfilling comfort is that you can change it. How soon? How long does it take? It takes no time at all. Then again, quantum physics come to your rescue. Time doesn't exist. And how you have to manipulate time. How? Through your own consciousness. Through your mind, you can manipulate time. How do you do it? Even Einstein said, when you vibrate at the speed of light, you will change. Time comes to an standstill. And he did it through a thought experiment. Being in a car or a bus, he imagined that he is going at the speed of light. And that led him to discover so many things. So this thought, what he called as thought experiment, I call it as meditation. So I'm going to be teaching meditations to change time. Simultaneously, you will be changing your negative thoughts. Not at the gross mind level. The mind level, you will really be thinking negative thoughts and confirming the negative thoughts. I'm not going to be able to change my house, my job, my health, my intelligence. It's all negative. And this is our nature. Our nature is to remain negative. And that is partly due to the mind working on a very gross level, where there is a different reality when compared to a quantum reality, where the particle is everywhere. It's called non-locality, uncertainty, principles that Einstein hated so much and died with it. And now in 2022, Nobel laureates, 3 Nobel laureates, have forever put an end to this question that of this uncertainty principle not being existing. And now they all agree, they have all, the Nobel laureates came up with theories, experiments to prove that. So that is very good for us. If you had been negative all along, and humanity has been that way. It's not that you and I. Everybody has been so negative and continue the negativity. By negativity, I mean, a very bad and uncomfortable, painful reality, whether it is a disease you have or whether it is, a financial problem, very bad financial problem, which you continue. Or your inability to learn things. All these things are negative. Anything that is not, helping you to live life to the fullest possible level in joy and happiness and so forth. So this can be done. See, the negativity has to be changed. You keep on observing the old form because you are living in the mind. That's the bottom line. So forget about whatever I have said. You are living at the very surface level of the mind. And that mind says there is a continuity to your negativity, and that is reality. The poor people will always remain poor, and the rich people will always remain rich, because this is the system we have. So we have to go and fight against the system. I'm not there for that. And that is not my business. That is the business. That's what everybody is doing. I have come here to change that system, not system so much, but your consciousness and my consciousness, so that we live in a field of all possibilities at the quantum thinking level, where negativity can be changed to positivity. And of course, nobody wants to change the positivity to negativity. And everybody wants to change only their negativity to positivity. And it's such a simple thing, and it is scientific now. Okay, but nobody wants to teach it because nobody wants, to break away from the tradition. Our educational system is so screwed up, and then behind, about 100 years behind in schools, colleges, and everywhere. Because I went to check if anybody is teaching this quantum physics concept. The observed is the observer. You are seeing what you are seeing. You are sleeping in a bad, bed, and it is not out there you are have created, and continue to keep that. And that's the sad thing. And quantum physics is challenging it. And where is the proof? The proof is, I will tell you one thing. This is a concept in Buddhism as well as in Hinduism. And they say that there is nothing that is existing outside your mind. Everything is your mind. For instance, you are sleeping. You do not know that the building exists, the world exists. And when you wake up in the morning, the building is there, and you see the bed, you see the mirror, you see everything. When you are sleeping, what happened? How did it disappear? You did not die. Your mind was not there. This they developed into a knowledge system called mind only. It's mind only. Only the mind exists. Matter outside doesn't exist at all. That is why they delve deep into going into the mind and trying to understand the mind and bring the mind to the quantum level. Through meditation, you start from thinking 35, 40 thoughts a minute, and then bring it to a few thoughts, pure thoughts, one thought, and then you go deep into that one little thought. And I'm going to define everything and teach you how through one single sound you can transform. That is the sound which I gave to Vendaya. And he promoted me because of that. And then also deduced a theory out of it and called it manifest your reality. This is what my teacher from India taught me. And he dedicated his book, Manifest Your Reality, Manifest. I forget the title. Manifest?
Destiny.
You manifest your destiny. Okay. And I want you to manifest your destiny for 2023.
Dr. Pillai, I just have one question. Your explanation was very enlightening. However, could you give people a very simple technique that they can do in order to
I've already given the technique. The technique that I gave to Wayne Dyer, although I did not bring in quantum physics there, I gave him one quantum sound, that is the sound ah. And people did many miracles. That is how I came to teach it to the public in general. Close your eyes, and then within a quantum second, if we can do it, it's better. But since your mind is not trained, you can do it for a minute or two or 3 or 4 or even 5. And then say the sound ah rising from the bottom of your spine. And bring it to your pineal gland, the third eye. Now what happens? When the quantum sound ah goes to the third eye, which is the pineal gland. The pineal gland is a miracle gland that will take you to a different introduce you to a different time dimension, to a space dimension, and in that dimension, you change your reality. And then keep on saying this sound, however long you can, and that is important. But don't think that you have to do a long time to get a result. If you could do it in a quantum second, a femtosecond, you'll get that too. A quarterlionth of a second is a femtosecond. And it is a matter of experience, not of talking about it and seeing the results. And that is very important. Okay. I will talk more about it, in the other modules too.
Thank you, Dr. Pillai. So everyone, Dr. Pillai will be joining us soon for his second module on how to change your belief system through the quantum mind. But before that, we have a special presentation by our guest, Sonia Benkovich. She is a scientist and inventor of a patented device that uses Dr. Pillai's phonemic intelligence technology. And she's going to be helping us to understand what is intelligence and where is it located in the brain. Welcome, Sonia.
Thank you, Elaine. Well, I'm delighted to be here. This is a topic that I'm totally passionate about. And it starts with a simple question, which Dr. Pillai proposed to me. And I want to share this little presentation here. 1 second here. Let me just go to full screen mode. Bear with me 1 second here. Which is the question is, why don't we change? And, I met Dr. Pillai over 20 years ago. And that was one of the first questions he proposed to us. He's like, how long have you been strategizing to make more money? How long have you been wanting a better relationship? How long have you been wanting a better car? Why are we not changing? And through his studies that he has connected, we were able to, and with the advent of more technology, we are now able to understand that a little bit more clearly. Why are we not able to change, even though we try? And you can spend thousands of dollars on these performance classes. You can get all this new knowledge, and yet, you get so jacked and, motivated during these courses, and you come out of the course and within a couple of weeks, you forget everything and you don't change. Maybe it's like a vague memory, you gain some knowledge, but you don't change. The main reason for that is an area in the brain or that we have called the comfort zone. It takes energy, it takes action to change. And you usually only change if your life is threatened or if you're going through something traumatic. And then you'll start to act and take a different action. But otherwise, we fall into this comfort zone. The second reason, which correlates to that comfort zone, is this area in the brain, which we call the default network. And this default network has been developed since we were born, right? When you're born, you have trillions and trillions of neurons. And by the age of 4, you start this process called synaptic pruning. And your neurons actually decrease. You start to create more neural networks, and it decreases and decreases and decreases. And you get a set default network, which is a set way of thinking. And it develops from about the age of 2 when you start to get your identity. You pull back from your parents, you say no to your mommy for the first time. You start to develop this sense of identity, and this logic kicks in. And then we go to school. So as Dr. Pillai was saying, there's something very wrong with our educational system. It has developed a very structured way of thinking about things. And it's what we all go through in every nation, right? It's a very logical, linear, deductive reasoning. And that's where you're praised. You are praised for high intelligence if you can do this deductive reasoning. But what's interesting is in 2018, the Norwegians did a study, and they're finding that as a human race, our IQ scores are actually starting to fall. And they're kind of proposing some reasons for that. And that article is there on CNN if you want to read that. One of the reasons they say is we've kind of reached a threshold where with social media and being connected and automation, that we're not challenging our brains in new ways. So we're not developing this higher intelligence. We're kind of relying on other things to do our thinking for us. But it's really important just to take 5 minutes and kind of dive into our brain, and we can understand why quantum thinking will challenge and kind of open up a whole new world for us of possibilities. And I don't want to go too much into the brain, but this is our brain, right? We have certain regions. We have our frontal lobe, this parietal lobe, the occipital lobe, and way down here at the bottom here, this is called the cerebellum. Now, our brain takes a lot of energy to work. Of all the calories that you consume in a day, 20% of that fuel is going just to keep the electrical signals and the blood flow going through your brain. It's a machine that takes a lot of energy. And when they talk about the type of intelligence, they've developed all these models. And I'm not going to go too much into it in this call, but perhaps on the quantum thinking, we can do a deeper dive on this. But there are different types of intelligences. When we talk about being more intelligent and becoming more smart, what are we actually talking about? And there are different types of intelligence that they're coming up with different models for. The one we're going to look at briefly is something called the PFIT model of how your brain processes information. So you can have at the lower level here, blocks 1 through 16, those represent very specific types of intelligence, right? You might be excellent at football, but you might be terrible at math, that maybe that's the number 7, right? Or you might be excellent at reading and comprehension, but absolutely rubbish at emotional connection with another human being. So all these specific tasks roll up into different functions of the brain, like reasoning, spatial ability, memory, processing speed, vocabulary. And this is how they sample IQ. So if someone says you have a lower IQ or we're decreasing our IQ, it means our speed and ability to sample these cross-functional capabilities is decreasing. But that they still recognize, though, that is not total intelligence, that the scientists are recognizing that there's another type of intelligence that it's kind of ineffable. It's beyond IQ, right? Because you can have a very high IQ, but you can have no idea how to communicate with other people, and or your emotions get out of control. You have no self-control, and you ruin everything. So even though you might have a very high IQ, you can't function in the world. But this intelligence that they call G, which is general intelligence, they recognize it. They don't really know how to measure it yet, but there's a level of intelligence that we each have that is supreme. And the higher we have this overall general intelligence, you can master all aspects of your life. So just briefly, I don't want to, you don't have to memorize this, there's no exam, but this is basically how information flows from the brain, right? There's a stage 1 where the back of your brain processes all the sensory inputs. It kind of comes back up where you start to have symbolism and abstraction. And then in the front of the brain, which is kind of the neocortex, which means the new part of the brain as we've developed as Homo sapiens, kind of does the analysis, it does a hypothesis testing, it does analysis. And then you get right to this part here called the anterior cingulate, which is in the front of the brain. And it's responsible for your actual response. What did you decide? It's your final decision. After you go through all of this experience, you have a final decision to make. And this level of intelligence is interesting, right? And this is kind of what we learn in school. We learn to process information. We learn to figure out what it means. We learn to test, is this the right decision? And then we ideally have everything work out and we can change. But why can't we change this model? It's because of this area here called the default network. And this is just a sample of what the default network looks like in the brain. There are 2 types of ways to measure that they have right now that they use to measure what's happening inside your brain. One is called an fMRI, which means functional MRI, which measures blood flow. So it shows when you do a task, they're measuring which areas of the brain get the most blood flow. The second picture shows EEG, which are these little electrodes they put on your head and measures electrical signals. Now, what they're finding, though, is that we have this default network, which kind of ceases to develop by the time we're in our 20s, right? It's pretty solidified and it makes us very stuck in our thinking process. The same areas are always getting activated. It rejects anything new. It keeps us locked into a very, very set perspective. And this is what we need to overcome with a new brain, because we are not just this physical body. We are not just a logical process. A computer is a logical process too. We are so much more than all this. We are beings of divinity and light in a physical body. So, but what happened to our thinking process? How did we get so stuck where we're not able to make the changes we really want to change? So when they're studying these EEGs, I just want to go over this very quickly. There are different frequencies in our brains. Let's start at the lowest one. When you're in deep sleep or relaxation, it's almost perfectly flat, right? It's called the delta. It's a very deep sleep and you're relaxed. And it's when you have that great night's sleep, you don't even know where you went. You are out like a light, right? And that deep sleep just shuts off all activity of the mind and you replenish. The next level up is a dream state called theta. And in that dream state, it can also be accessed when you're awake as well. If you're like really tired and you close your eyes, your brain will naturally go into a theta state too. It's like deep meditation. This frequency, your whole frequency of your brain changes to this deeper meditative state. It's a transcendent state of mind. It's where lucid dreaming occurs, and dopamine and epinephrine. And so you start to access these feelings of well-being and the dream world. So it's a different reality where your brain will operate at a different way of processing information. Then we have this alpha state, which is slightly higher frequency, but that's when you're really relaxed and you're awake, but you're totally at peace. Everything is fine. You're almost like a trance state. And this is a state we're going to show you, interestingly, like where the sparks of genius can start to occur and how to put your mind into that state. But unfortunately, for most of us, throughout the entire day, we're in this beta state of mind. The beta state is the logic, it's the cognition, it's analytical thinking, it's stress and anxiety, fight or flight. Oh, I'm hungry, I must get food now. Oh, this person, I remember that person. It's based on my memory. That person is going to be this way and I have to interact this way. And it locks us into this whole blah, 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 blah mind that we are thinking mind, which is like impossible. It's running from our default network. We can't change. And then we have this total brain awakening and we can't maintain this gamma state. The top frequency is called gamma state. And when that happens, it's like the whole brain kind of just sparks up and lights up. And we don't maintain that state probably for good, but it's that sudden insight. It's that whole brain activity. And once Dr. Pillai put this EEG on a Siddha master in India, I was there and we were watching his brain and he was just sitting there and his entire brain lit up in gamma waves. It was really interesting to kind of witness how his brain was so different from anyone else's brain that we were testing. Most of us were in beta, or maybe if we were relaxed, a little bit of alpha. Now, the reason this is important goes back to this work by, I totally forgot his name. He's a professor in the UK at Oxford. I think his name is Tom Hodgkins, but I will put that in the note. I should have been on this slide. I apologize. So, but he did an interesting study based on the work of Thomas Edison. Edison was going into like how his genius came, right? He has hundreds and hundreds of patents, get these great insights and can conceive what nobody else could see or conceive and bring something new to this world. He could change everything. And this Professor Hodgkins, what he did is he studied Thomas Edison's methodology. So what Thomas Edison would do back in the early 1900s is he would work all day, right? He was in beta mode. He would be researching, experimenting, and then he would stop. He would go and sit in a chair. He put a piece of metal on the floor and a metal ball in his hand. And he just allowed his hand to relax. And then he kind of allowed himself to relax a little. And if he started to fall asleep, his hand would open and drop the ball. And that would kind of stir him a little. And then, so basically what he was doing was putting himself in an alpha state of mind. He was changing his frequency from this beta state of thinking and putting himself in this alpha state where the epiphany would come. He would get the idea. He would all of a sudden know how to correlate information differently or how to go and reapproach his experiments. So what Professor Hodgkins did here, you can see on the left, he's like, oh, and by the way, he was a meditator, right? He meditated for 20 or 30 years. And he's like, I've never had experiences that other people who meditate were experiencing. And so he put himself under an EEG and he found himself very much a left brain, meaning right-handed, left brain beta thinker. His EEG was totally left brain beta. He was a very logical thinker. He was scientific. He was investigatory. He believed the world, if you do this, this, and this, you get C. If you do A and B, you get C. But what he found is that using sound and light, he was finally able to train his brain to operate in a different way. He could consciously move his mind. He used flashes of light and different tonal frequencies to activate whole brain, both left and right brain, and the alpha state of his mind. And when that happened, all of a sudden he was getting these visions, which he didn't have before, and he was getting sparks of light. He was having this experience of alternative reality or alternative understanding that he hadn't had from his own work at all. So what Dr. Pillai is going to be doing in this quantum course is teaching us how to do this and how to think in different ways, in different capacities. So we're going to enter a quantum state of mind. What we have to do first is undo or let go of our old way of thinking, because we want change. You don't want 2023 to be exactly like 2022, to be exactly like 2021, right? I mean, sure, the COVID and lockdown kind of forced us all into a different pattern, but now we have to now consciously take control of releasing our old patterns, operating from this quantum mind and the midbrain structures. I'm just going to go quickly back up to that first screen here. You have this outer layer of our brain, which is a very logical thinking. And then you have this inner thinking here, the inside of the brain. It's an ancient side of the brain. And what Dr. Pillai did in his fMRI research studies at Harvard University is he told the scientists there, just do these couple sounds and study them under fMRI. And he did, and the scientist was shocked. The main reason why is Dr. Pillai told him that the simple sound ah, the ah sound that he gave Dr. Wayne Dyer, Dr. Pillai said, no, you're going to find activation in this area down below called the cerebellum. And the scientist was like, no way. You're doing the sound, you're going to hear it kind of on, on the sides where you process sensory information on your limbic system. You might see something in the parietal section, maybe in the frontal, but you're not going to see anything in the cerebellum. There's no thinking there. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. He did these fMRI studies and there was activation down here in the cerebellum, this ancient part of the brain. We have another way to think. We have another way to exist, and it's much more powerful than anything we've been trained in school. And that's why school never felt comfortable for most of us, right? You were judged A, B, C, D. You developed your self-esteem that way. Your brain felt to do this logical reasoning, which only has a limitation, but you knew that you had a different intelligence. There's a wisdom and intelligence that we all have innately in us. And it comes with instant knowing, instant problem solving, and bypasses logical reality. It is effectual consciousness. And that is why I'm so excited about this quantum course, quantum thinking course coming up for next year, because it's real change. It's not where you're going to go and there's going to be, the comfort zone again. You're not going to change, but now through these techniques that you're going to be learning of Dr. Pillai's, everything's going to change. It's going to ignite the cerebellum. It's going to activate the pineal gland. It's going to teach you on a new way of manifestation creation, and getting rid of that negative mind Dr. Pillai was just talking about, because that logic mind can become so negative, right? Here's that person again. Here's my job again. This person's always bothering me. My bank account's always empty. The negative mind is stuck. We need a new way of thinking because we have to evolve as a human race, and we have this innate capability within us. So finally, I know I'm going a little bit over my time, but Dr. Pillai used the sound awe, and awe has a very specific frequency. So that's one of the sounds I hope he's going to have us master in the quantum thinking course. And also what Dr. Pillai did is he very specifically puts these sounds in specific areas of our mind. So I'm a little bit past my time here, so I get very passionate about this. But we are going to develop quantum thinking. We're going to access greater intelligence and overcome our default thinking once and for all in 2023. This is not to be missed. It's going to be a whole new way of being, and it's going to be a very experiential course where you will experience in real time this greater intelligence.
Thank you, Sonia. So now let's welcome back Dr. Pillai. Dr. Pillai, let's move on to your second module of how to change your belief system through the quantum mind.
Although you have heard the expression that when you see it, you will believe it. You have to, this is quantum physics. When you see it, you will believe it. That's what the truth about the particle existing. You have to observe it. When you observe it, then you believe it. This the Schrodinger's dog, the cat experiment, to disprove Einstein's determinism. I'm not going to go into science very deeply, except if it is going to help us to change our fortune, our future. So let's go back and say, when you see it, you will believe it. So you have to understand the power of seeing. Creative visualization is what most people understand from spiritual teachings. You have to visualize, and then that will happen. That is true. The visualization is everything. And the life that we are living now is a result of what we visualized. Why did we do such a bad visualization? That's the question that everybody would like to ask themselves. It is wrong. It was not given to us by other people. It was given to us by ourselves. So the observation plays a key role. Observation takes place at many different levels before it becomes a material reality. You are going to go, if you read Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, and then he will say how to train the mind to be able to know different levels of thinking. We are now thinking in a robot, like mechanism. We think without properly controlling our mind, our thought process, how we use our words, and how the words are connected to the meaning, and how is meaning connected to the object. These are all going to be, very interesting if you are interested in knowing the process of manifestation from chaos or from zero to our emptiness, to material reality. Not that the material reality is everything. Once you know that you can create everything, then, you know, Jesus himself said that you can do everything that you want to do, like I do. All that you have to know is the Holy Spirit. You know, the Holy Spirit is the higher intelligence, the quantum reality. And if you go to that's why it's the Holy Spirit. And that spirit is within you. And then if you go into that level and then see that, and that becomes the belief, and when the belief becomes the reality, then the matter is created. You know, that is how we have to go and first see it. And if you don't see it, then you don't create a belief. No, I'm going to say that again. You have to see it. And that is a quantum reality. Okay, seeing is a quantum reality. But you have to see, that's why the word seer is very important too. The seer is one who doesn't see, you know, think very deeply. He's a prophet, is called a seer. So it is more than, you know, observation through the eyes. Eyes are involved. The eyes can get you to deeper levels. You know, without the eyes, you cannot understand thinking, the subtleties of thinking. So when you go and then see those realities first, and then they will become belief, and the belief becomes the reality, and then, you know, you can create whatever you want to create. And, you know, I don't believe in blah blahing. I just want, I just was teaching someone, within 39 seconds, I want God to help you. So you go before God, Jesus, or Yahweh, or Buddha, or somebody, Shiva, Krishna. Can you ever tried to do it at the quantum level? At the quantum level. It is not really the quantum level, it's much grosser, but at least if you can do a prayer within, say, like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, then you do it. That prayer is a quantum prayer. That prayer is truly a prayer that connects you with God, who is the quantum reality. How do you do it? The mind, body, the soul, they should all, the breath, all of them should be together. And what do we do in our prayer? We have a big list which we don't believe. Give me Rolls Royce, give me that, give me this, or give me the girlfriend. And you don't even believe that. You don't know how to go deep into the quantum level. That is what I'm going to be teaching. Actually, it's a one-year program, you know, a year-long course, but people cannot commit it. Also see different modules. There are 4 modules. Creating from inside out is the first module. The second module in the one-year program is cleansing negativity. And then there is the third one is embodying your God self. You know, you become God or the quantum self. And an outrageous thinker. Okay, these are all the 4 modules, you know, I think. This is for the course, for the one-year course. Not that you have to do all the modules, not that you have to do even that course. Even this program itself is self-contained. The one meditation that I taught you, will do everything too, because is God. And can, you know, I've done a lot of research on the meditation and what type, where you find the expression or the impact of awe in the brain. The most powerful areas of the brain are activated by the sound, or including neurotransmitters like the one particular neuron called one economo neuron. But anyway, let's not go into that. You have to see in order to believe, and in order to believe, you will believe and you will manifest. And that's the most. And then another point that I want to mention is it's not only your brain thinks, your genes think too. That's taking place at a molecular level, not at a quantum level. The gene, is your DNA, and within the DNA you have all that oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon, and phosphate, all the, and quantum is much smaller than that. You have to go into the hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon atoms and go to the subatomic particles. But the important thing is you can go to the elementary particle level, to electron level, to the subatomic levels through the quantum thinking. And that is India's contribution to the entire world, how you can accomplish that. And nobody teaches the Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, Vasishta's Ramayana in this perspective, but time has come and I myself will spearhead that project. So, and you have to go beyond the genetic constraints you have, which you have inherited from your father or mother. You're not only thinking the thoughts, but your mother's thought, your father's thought, and your grandparents' thought. You have to change all that, And they are all polluted by beliefs, very bad belief systems. So that, I have taught meditations for that. And so in order to change your belief, I will give you, since I promised I will give a technique so that you get it, without any obligation. Now close your eyes. Just take it for granted certain concepts that I'm giving to you. I won't be able to explain it to you well because of time constraint. Go to the sky. Imagine the blue sky. You keep going up and up and up and up. There is a light that's pulling you up and up and up. And you are not in the brain. You are now in the sky. You are going up and up and up and up. In a spaceship, and you're going up. And visualize yourself filled with light. You have a light body, otherwise. You have a space body. And you are merged with the space. And the face is filled with light. And your physical body that is sitting and meditating here connects with it through this meditation. And while you are in space, you visualize whatever you want. Say, for instance, now that nowadays cars are very difficult to buy, just visualize buying a car that you like. You see the car color and everything. And come down with the body with the car in your head in the light body, and then get into your physical body. You have practiced quantum thinking, quantum visualization. And close your meditation and open your eyes. Space, the brain, thinking, and matter, they are all interconnected. So I will teach all these things in definitely at length in this in a one-year program. But don't worry about time. Time doesn't exist. And when you are in the sky and visualizing light like Einstein did practice, he has so many thought experiments which he practiced, which is meditation. And that led him to discover a lot. But anyway, believe it. And you have seen that car in the space, and that means you have sowed the seeds for the belief in by the physical body, which is polluted by a very bad belief system with very bad genetic makeup. All these have to be changed. Okay. You're not going to believe the government or somebody is not giving you a job and all. That's not going to work. The government will remain the same, the other people will remain the same. You have to take care of yourself. And God has given everything to you. See, what we are saying today is nothing when compared to, scriptures. When the scriptures say God created man in his own image, it's not a curse. He just wanted human beings as powerful as him, meaning that let there be, he would say, let there be light, and light will be there. And you won't ask whether thermal or nuclear power, all this nonsense is our complications which we have created, and then we are all caught up in this idiotic life. So at least quantum physics will fix people in the golden age which is coming. So that's all I wanted to say about this module, because as I said, the prayer takes only 10-15 minutes, and you do it multiple times a day, and that's the way it's going to be. Let me stop this at this point here.
Thank you, Dr. Pillai. So everyone, Dr. Pillai will be joining us for his final teaching module on quantum thinking through the third eye. But first, we have a special guest appearance by someone who has a very inspiring story that she's going to share with you briefly of her life transformation. Her name is Stacy Lawson. She is the vice chairman and founding CEO of Y Green Energy Fund. And before meeting Dr. Pillai, she was already a very accomplished businesswoman. She was actually named one of the most influential women in business. And she was the co-founder of the Center of Entrepreneurship at UC Berkeley. However, after working with Dr. Pillai, Stacy has experienced a profound journey of miracles. So Stacy, welcome, and we look forward to your story.
Thank you, Elaine. Lovely to be here, and such an honor to be witness to Dr. Pillai and all of his powerful teaching. So I wanted to just share a little story about how I met Dr. Pillai almost 20 years ago now. And at the time I was a young entrepreneur. I had just started my first technology company. I was in my early, well, I guess I was in my late 20s, early 30s. And I was burning the candle at both ends. I was, working 24/7. I was stressed out. I was anxious. I was, struggling and efforting and working hard to make these new creations and innovations come to life. And when I met Dr. Pillai, he said, you know, you will learn to create many things with complete ease, but right now you're using your thoughts and your energy all wrong. And I thought, oh my goodness, I think he's right. I didn't have any idea what he was referring to, but I could sense in my own body and my own self that I was efforting myself to exhaustion, and I wanted to learn what he had to teach. And so I asked him, will you please teach me? And he said, of course, that's what I do. And really what he was pointing to were these mechanisms in my default brain, a certain style of thinking, a certain logical linear approach, and a certain way of going about manifesting that was causing me a lot of effort and you know, a fair bit of struggle. And so with his quantum teachings around the observer being the observed, it was important, I learned, for me to go inside. And through his techniques, through the practices and the meditations, accessing different brain states, as Maya mentioned, accessing different types of intelligence and intuition. Dr. Pillai has taught me and so many others how to manifest with a deeper ease from the quantum reality, where we visualize and recognize that reality in its entirety already formed and actually bring that into the physical realm. So that has led to me being able to create multiple successful companies, many impactful projects and innovations. I feel very, very blessed in my material life with a beautiful home, a lifestyle, travel, you know, expanded experiences. And so it has been, his teachings have really brought forward that material abundance. But there were a couple of examples that I also wanted to share that have been super meaningful for me. One is that several years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so this was a pretty big health crisis, kind of a surprise thing that emerged in my life. And I felt very clear that I didn't want to go the traditional path of surgery and chemotherapy and sort of traditional medicine, although I was, you know, certainly taking the advice of my doctors. But with Dr. Pillai and his blessings and his programs and techniques and practices, he actually helped me move through my healing journey through these deep spiritual techniques. And he would say to me repeatedly, when you believe more in your healed body than you do in the cancer, when you can see your body as completely healed, it will be so. He was invoking this from the quantum field, right? From the quantum reality, from the subtle realms. And through that process, which was about an 18-month process of deep meditation, inquiry, looking at my own boundaries and thought processes and different karmas and working with his various techniques, he was able to help me heal without conventional surgery and chemotherapy and to be cancer-free. It was a complete miracle, but the miracle is what arises from the quantum field, right? That is the quantum thinking. The quantum mind is full of miracles. And the second example I wanted to share was around relationship, as that Dr. Pillai's practices and techniques have allowed both me and my long-term partner for over a decade to really, really deepen into our inner realms of presence, compassion, being deeply in related, relational being with each other, working through a lot of glitches and a lot of our own sort of default workings or default brain to arrive at a place of just a profound love and a profound connection and a lot of evolutionary upliftment for both of us, which has culminated more recently in us getting married. And I just recognize the profound changes in both of us that have come about by really dropping into Dr. Pillai's practices and techniques, really becoming much more centered and grounded in our own being, becoming more present and aware and awake to our quantum nature, to the possibility of all things, and how much that has brought forward a living in love, living as love, being capable and being a present and available source of love for the people most important in my life, and really quite frankly, to all people I meet, which I think is really the path of evolution for all of us on this planet. So Dr. Pillai has inspired that beautifully. His blessings have been an incredibly powerful presence and in my life and so many others. And I just encourage you and invite you to look into this course and be part of this quantum awakening, as I think that it is the great work of our time. And I know Dr. Pillai is the master to lead us there. So thank you, Elaine.
Thank you. Very inspiring story, and we celebrate with you.
Thank you.
So everyone, let's welcome back Dr. Pillai now. And Dr. Pillai, please lead us into your final teaching module of quantum thinking from the third eye and how that enables us to perceive all possibilities.
Okay, I'm going to go to the third module, which is quantum thinking in the third eye, which is the pineal gland. And it is very critical for us to do something about 2023, because life seems to be so difficult, even as we are ending this year, 2022, and it doesn't look bright at all by rational standard, by looking at the stock market and the wars around the world. And everything is so, depressing. And so everybody has now just reading go and then build your military, and everybody is doing that. My God, already we are not doing well. It is just, I personally think I always thought this way, even when Saddam Hussein was alive. All that has happened is a change of consciousness of that particular person, and then let them overflow with love. Like the whole world will change if a few people, only 3 or 4 people change their mindset and then fill it with love. It will happen. But people don't want to be, especially politicians and others will think that I am crazy. The only way is to do what traditionally and rationally to expect and deal with it. I'm not in their company. I'm in the company of Jesus and the Buddha and Shiva and Krishna, of great joy and of great peace of the Buddha and Jesus. If you want to hit me on my right cheek, hit me on the left cheek. And I'm going to love my neighbor. Jesus gave the answer, the solution. The whole world is now filled with, people following Christianity, but not the teachings. Not the teachings. The key teachings of love. But anyway, I'm not pessimistic. I know that things are going to dramatically change, especially for good people, for the righteous, for the spiritual people, for the godly people. The godly people, the spiritual people that are with me. Not people who create problem in the name of religion. They are as bad as others are. But then the one thing that is important is you, as spiritual people, can change the world, can change yourself also by understanding how powerful you are. And there is incredible power because God created man in his own image. And by speaking, you will manifest that what you want to manifest. And the speech is called the word. Oral Robert created the university with no money in hand. And he said, how are you going to build the university? He said, just as God created the world, I will create this Oral Robert University. He did. You know, how? Through the word. He was reading the Bible for 3 months. Kneel down. You do not know. There are a lot of secrets which I want to share with you, which I've been sharing with an expensive program which you can't afford. But now, at least in this 1-year program, I will include a lot of the teachings that you need as a tool. Now, this module that I'm going to talk about is the third eye, which is the pineal gland. The pineal gland can change your space, your time, your concepts, and then make that real. If you put your thought in the third eye, it will accelerate the thought at a tremendous speed, and then you have to understand and how melatonin, DMT, and serotonin, they all can be studied scientifically, and then how they can aid you in breaking away from your negativity and your strong belief that nothing is going to change. Everything is changing every second. And that reality will become real only when you act from that little organ in the physical body called the pineal gland. But don't think that pineal gland is the third eye per se. It is a physical representation or physical manifestation of the third eye in the physical body. Third eye is in the subtle body. There are so many subtle bodies. Some people say 3, 4, 5, and some people say there are innumerable physical, quantum bodies within our body. And the truth is, I think there are innumerable bodies. And as you begin to go into but the pineal gland gives you, because all that we know is about only your physical body. And then the chemicals there will aid you to, change your experience of subtle levels of thoughts and experience too. And experience is a chemical phenomenon. The chemicals are very important. And cortisol, for instance, or dopamine. These chemicals are very important, and those it's important to know about them even through your own food habits and what you eat. You can do a lot of things, and the way you breathe. When the breath goes into the pineal gland, things will change very differently. So in the third eye, you can visualize whatever you want to create, and then while you do that, then you see changes happening. Now I'm going to give you a meditation for that, since we are already running out of time. Close your eyes and tap 3 times, 4 times in the middle of the forehead, right above the 2 eyes, and right above the nose. Middle of the forehead corresponds to the pineal gland, which is way back in the midbrain, in between the 2 brains, right and left. And then again tap with your finger. And then now just feel that area in the middle of the forehead. And as you focus, you'll be able to feel that under the pituitary level that is in between the 2 eyes, and then move up and then go again. Go to the middle of the forehead and then go inside to the brain, into the brain, and visualize a flame of light. That's your third eye. A flame. Visualize the flame. And you can do a prayer. This prayer will be listened to because God lives in the third eye. Your soul is part of God. Now you are speaking to God from the third eye. He is also in the third eye. God of light. Arul Perum Jodi. Arul, 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 Arul. I won't be able to withstand suffering anymore. I won't be able to live with these diseases and ill health. With these bad finances, I won't be able to prolong. You are God Almighty. Call on whatever God you want to call. Call on Jesus, Buddha, Shiva, Vishnu, or anybody that you can relate to, or to any teacher you have, any guru you have, whom you can trust in your heart. Change my life. Bless me with prosperity. Bless me with incredible health. Bless me with a light body as like your body. Waiting is a waste of time in your world, in your consciousness. There is no time. Let me merge with you. I bow down to you, prostrate. And I'm holding on to your feet. I'm surrendered to you, my ego, my ignorance. O God of light, Jesus, Buddha, Shiva, Krishna, Hanuman. Help me. I am totally surrendered to you. And I have 100% faith in you at this moment of great prayer with sincerity. Amen. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Peace to the body, peace to the mind, peace to the soul, peace to the world. Let everybody be happy, healthy, and be peaceful. God bless. Now, I'm very grateful to God that I spent this an hour or so or less with you in a fruitful way. I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity. One more, I'm going to be giving live initiations on January 1st on a very special day of the Vaikunda Ekadashi. It's the 11th moon, where you can visit the incredible heaven of Vishnu. Vishnu is really into incredible, unpolluted luxury, health, wealth, everything. So I will talk about how to get to his heaven as quantamizing BRZEE initiation. Then I will, BRZEE, the goddess of wealth, belongs to that heaven. On January 14th, there is another important day. It's called the Vedic winter solstice in the spiritual rejuvenation. And I will do another initiation on that day when the sun is moving into Capricorn. That's all for now. I'm happy that we are together with God for the past 1.5 hours.
Thank you, Dr. Pillai. This session has been a great blessing for all of us. So now, everyone, you have the foundational teachings and techniques that you need in order to experience a new quantum reality. And for those of you who would like to embrace this new reality in order to create a new future in 2023, Dr. Pillai spoke about his upcoming live sessions and empowerments. And we'd like to also let you know about how you can participate in all ways, including his year-long Manifesting Through Quantum Thinking program. So Pillai Center teacher Gina will be joining us to walk us through that now.
Thank you for having me. What a wonderful session we've had today with Dr. Pillai. As he said, an absolute blessing. So many of you in chat are asking about this program, what it entails, how you can join, when it starts, who's teaching it. I see all the questions coming in. Please continue to post your questions. I will get to all of them as well as I can. So first of all, what an immense time that we have an opportunity to move into a new year. And Dr. Pillai laid out all the specific ways in which we can change. We got a beautiful testimonial. We understand the brain even more. And now is the time where we can, over the next couple of weeks, make this decision to shift into a new reality, really create a new future in 2023. And this program has designed to do exactly that. Dr. Pillai created the entire program. He outlined every teaching that we're going to be providing. And it is a year-long course in transforming your life. So making that commitment that everything could change in your life in this next coming year. There will be 3 different ways to join, so just stay with me. There's going to be the year-long program. There's going to be a quarterly option. And then if you would like to only be participating in Dr. Pillai's live initiations in January, you can do that as well. So I'm first going to go through the year-long program. So this program starts on January 1st with the initiation of Quantamizing SHREEM BRZEE on January 1st, with Dr. Pillai just talked about the most powerful day, one of the most powerful days of the year for Vishnu showering wealth blessings. The course will then have 4 different modules throughout the year. The first 3 months, we are going to be dedicated to focusing on creating from the inside out, the quantum mind. Everything he talked about today in terms of your belief system and changing that and being persistent with committing to that belief of what it is you want to create versus what the reality might show you. That takes practice. And as Stacy mentioned today, it was 18 months that she went through her process with cancer. And one of the things she had mentioned before, which really stuck to me, which is like being persistent, always being on watch for those negative thoughts to seep in, that's going to veer us off track and not have us manifest what it is we want to create. So creating from the inside out, there will be a creative visualization, how faith plays a part. The observer is the observed, and then the quantum mechanics of sound. That's the first module. And that is also available for you to purchase on its own, just the quarter 1. The next module, or Q2 in the year-long course, is negativity, is cleansing negativity. And Dr. Pillai talked a bit about the quantum mechanics of negativity and positivity and how we really tap into that. The topics for that will be how you're, similar to what Dr. Pillai talked about today, how your parents are influencing you, how your environment is influencing you, your genes, your body, your physical genes, your spiritual genes, planetary influences, and we will be helping you with several different techniques and teachings on how to bypass that or cleanse it, because we can't manifest until we've cleansed what is literally holding us back, cleansing what is the blockages to receptivity to the new quantum mind and the creative process. Module 3, or quarter 3 in the program, will be all about embodying your God self. Dr. Pillai talked about how the quantum mind is your God self. It is the divinity. We're going inside of that aspect, manifesting from within. That is key. And one of the main aspects of, or teachings, I should say, in his program for that is knowing that you are God. It is that you are embodying your God self. There are several different components to that he talks about in different teachings along the way, but we're going to bring them all together. Unconditional love and how that plays a part in your manifestation process. Selfless service, how giving back is really key to your own benefits. Dr. Pillai calls it God genetics, how we have been made in the form of God, and also in your individual soul, how your individual soul plays a part. There's the God, self-God soul, and then there's our individual soul, which is carrying different samsaras or karmas with it. So we'll be exploring all of that in the Embodying Your God Self module. The final module of the year is outrageous thinking. And this is where Dr. Pillai talks about thinking from the pineal gland, thinking from the midbrain, thinking from the third eye. This is how we will be able to jump from this rational brain, this limited self, to moving into this outrageous thinking, out of the box thinking, Dr. Pillai calls it. And there'll be several techniques. Each of these levels will have several different techniques to them. And so those are the 4 main teachings throughout the year that we'll be providing. And so that's the year-long course. Now, within the year-long course, there's actually 3 different levels that you can choose from, depending on your budget and your level of participation. The fundamental level of the year-long course is teachings every other week with a variety of Pillai Center teachers. And I won't go into every technique that's done in each level, but just know that fundamental, and you can find that on the sales page, so you can look through those details, open up the syllabus. It's quite extensive. The fundamental level, you'll be having teachings with Pillai Center teachers every other week. And that'll be the fundamental techniques and teachings that Dr. Pillai puts forward. The intermediate level will be every week because he wants us to layer in more teachings, more techniques that you'll be using throughout the year. The premier level or the third level will include all of those plus additional monthly, he calls them intensives or boot camps, where he wants us to have thought labs, where we will have kind of an experimental session of being alone with our thoughts with special techniques that will help us identify what thoughts are bringing us in which direction, a positive direction, negative direction. They'll be tapping into what your super thoughts are and how you can create them, manufacture them. So that's a bit about the 3 different levels. I will also go through it in on the sales page a little bit. And let me share my screen now so that we can go there. Okay, so here you should be able to see the top of my page. Create your future in 2023. I should also mention that if you would like special early enrollment gifts, you would need to enroll by December 23rd. There will be up to 90 days, 3 months of SHREEM BRZEE prosperity ceremonies. Those are pujas and offerings to the SHREEM BRZEE goddess in India, and that will help to enhance or benefit your manifestation process because SHREEM BRZEE is the goddess of abundance. So here are the modules I just went through, creating from the inside out. Those are the topics: overcoming negativity, negative thinking, embodying your God self, outrageous thinking. And there's the full syllabus, so please feel free to download that. Now, the one thing that everyone will be receiving is these components here: step-by-step coaching with Pillai Center teachers. You'll be involved in ways to stay accountable with your group, okay? And then these other aspects are part of different programs. So, for example, the thought labs that I mentioned, phonemic intelligence technique will be part of the course. Siddha techniques such as, very unique esoteric teachings that Dr. Pillai has taught over the years on ways to remove karma, to shift your thought patterns, things like that. Of course, personal astrology and remedies are part of every package as well, and I will shift into those details in just a moment. First, I want to talk a little bit more about the initiations in January. So I mentioned there are 3 ways to participate: the year-long, which I covered, the quarterly, which I also covered, and now there's the live initiations with Dr. Pillai. If you are not wanting to go into a year-long course, but really just want to be with him on the 2 most powerful days of the new year in January, then these are the times. January 1st, it is New Year's Day. It is also Vaikuntha Ekadashi, which Dr. Pillai mentioned. It's when Vishnu opens the gates of heaven. And Dr. Pillai will be doing an initiation on quantamizing the SHREEM BRZEE mantra. So you can purchase that separately. Dr. Pillai made that extremely affordable for all of us to be able to join that. At the very least, that is the place you would be if you have a limited budget, for example. The next session, live with Dr. Pillai, will happen on what he refers to as the spiritual new year. It is when the sun moves into Capricorn, and in Vedic astrology, it's the Vedic winter solstice. And it's said that that's the time where the gods wake back up and come alive, and there's a lot of sun supporting energy. In this session, Dr. Pillai will be doing an initiation into quantum thinking from the third eye. This is the outrageous thinking. This is getting beyond our ability, getting beyond our rational, logical thought into the quantum mind and quantum thinking. Now, he will be doing a third empowerment, but that is only for the premier group, and that will happen in about 6 months inside the course, and we'll let you know when that time is, because he will select the perfect timing during whatever period of time it is that makes the most blessings for all involved. All right, so I had mentioned you will have group coaching with our teachers. We'll have the teachings and techniques be provided each week. The thought labs, individual coaching on one of the levels, the premier level, you will have a one-on-one consultation with a coach. You will also receive a personal astrology reading in order for you to better understand how astrology is impacting you all year round. Dr. Pillai talks about how the radiation from the planets are impacting us every moment. And to know what that impact is how we become aware. And when we become aware, we can do something about it. And do something about it comes often in the form of remedies that get performed on your behalf or that you do at home. So these three components that I'm showing now, the individual coaching session, the astrology, and the custom remedies, are all part of the premier level in the year-long program. And this is so that we become very aware at the pitfalls or what's going on from an astrological standpoint. Your coach will help you understand your astrology reading, and then the remedies will be done on your behalf, and they will be specific to you. They'll be selected after your astrological reading is done and then performed only for you, not in group ceremony, but just for you. These are individual fire labs. So this is an important part of being able to make drastic changes in the year, because we are being held back by our genes, by our brain, by our astrology. And the program has been crafted in a way that helps us understand where those blockages are so that we can then bypass them or overcome them. In the Premier, you'll also receive 9 planet pujas. So as I mentioned, the 9 planets are always impacting us, and we will have, I believe it's a whole year of these daily group sound and light offerings or pujas to the planets. The intermediate level and the premier level will receive a monthly SHREEM BRZEE full moon fire lab, another way to support our evolution. So I mentioned these remedies are ways to cleanse us at a soul level, and that's what they'll do. So we have the SHREEM BRZEE on the full moons. We have monthly karma removal hydrations. These are very special. They're done on 13th moons or pradoshams. And this is included for everyone in all levels of the program. And then, of course, you receive lifetime access to all of the content that you receive throughout the year. Again, if you would like to enroll by December 23rd, you receive 3 months or 90 days of SHREEM BRZEE ceremonies. So here is where you get to make your decisions, what options work best for you. So going down from the kind of smallest to largest, at this point, we have Dr. Pillai's January 1st initiation. You can purchase just that on its own right here. And as you can see, very reasonably priced. Dr. Pillai wanted to make sure everyone should be able to come to this session. At the very least, everyone should be able to come to this session. Next, if you'd like both sessions with Dr. Pillai in January, you can purchase that separately. And then if you really want to commit to your transformation in the new year, here are the 3 different options. And you should see the bold, which makes the distinction between each level. When you do fundamental, you receive January 1st live initiation with Dr. Pillai and the pradoshams or karma removal rituals, plus the every other week teaching and techniques for the whole year, those 4 modules. In your intermediate, you receive all of that, plus double the sessions from fundamental. So twice as many sessions, teachings with the Pillai Center teachers throughout the year. You'll be meeting every week with them. You'll also receive Dr. Pillai's Spiritual New Year or January 14th live initiation and the SHREEM BRZEE Full Moon Fire Labs every month. And if you want to move into the premier level, all of that's an intermediate, plus another live session with Dr. Pillai in about 6 months, the monthly thought labs, individual coaching consultation to help us understand where we need support, the astrological reading to understand where our planets are hurting or helping or harming us throughout the whole year. This report is intended to give you a picture of the year to come. What shifts may be happening, transitions may be happening in different planets that impact your money, your health, your relationships, your career, all of that. And you can, of course, bring your questions and become completely clear on how astrology will impact you this year. You'll be able to talk to your astrologer. Then the astrologer will select, I believe it's 6 individual fire labs that will be performed on your behalf. Just for you, only what is pertinent to your chart, what your needs are. And then there will be group daily 9 planet pujas, offerings to the planets every day for the whole year. So that is, that's that program. As you can see, we didn't actually do an early bird pricing this time because this pricing is literally the early bird. Like, this is the lowest we could possibly go on these pricings. And we hope that it makes a difference for you, because that was the intention. We understand that there's a lot going on in the world right now. And what's important is for us to band together as a community, create support, have these remedies that are being performed for us, and Dr. Pillai's blessings in a time that might be uncertain for the next year. So let us all come together and make that commitment to transformation, make that commitment to one another and to the world. Dr. Pillai said at his last set, this just a few minutes ago, how, we can change the world. We can change the world. How do we do that? Through our own personal transformation. You be the change. So that's why we made this program as absolutely affordable as we possibly could. Literally every level should be at least twice the price in terms of how much effort we're putting into it and price points that we've used in the past. So we welcome you and we invite you to take this year-long journey with Pillai Center teachers, with Dr. Pillai, with your community, in order to make lasting change and transformation in the new year. I will now look for other questions that are posted in chat, so please feel free to post them now. Also, just to reiterate the quarterly enrollment, if the 1 year is a little too much for you at the moment, the quarterly enrollment is, let me just show you that real quick. The quarterly enrollment starts January 1st, same thing, goes through the end of March, and it involves just 1 quarter of the teachings, and the teachings are every other week, same as the fundamental level. So basically it's the 1 quarter of the fundamental level of the year-long course, okay? You'll get the karma removal ceremonies done for the 3 months, you'll get teachings every other week, and you'll receive Dr. Pillai's live initiation on January 1st. And that is the price right there. And of course, there are payment plans for all options. So there you have every which way to join this amazing program. Let me just make sure I have a refreshed chat screen. All right. How is, okay, so some folks are asking about, okay, in regards to, so it looks like there's some questions regarding Mystery School, which is another year-long program with Dr. Pillai, and this program. This is a completely different program. There are different teachings in it. Dr. Pillai's, participation is at a different level. So it's a completely different program. If you are already in Mystery School, you would just stay in Mystery School. That goes through another 6 months or so, and Dr. Pillai will be most likely doing another Mystery School this year, but that is a much higher end program in terms of its price points. This was made much more affordable to everybody, and kind of gives us that oomph of starting on the new year and capturing the energy that a lot of people have around really wanting to renew promises to themselves and their lives during this period of time. Can we have other two programs broken down quarterly? Yes. So that will happen. It was just a little too much to put on the sales page right now. But if you want to join quarter by quarter, you'll be able to do that. Just first put yourself into quarter one. And then as that one ends, we will be making quarter two available to everybody. So that is another option. It was just a little too much to put on our sales page. As you know, there was already a lot of options that I had to walk through. So yes, but the first step would then be to join the first quarter. Is it for individual or family? So typically our courses are for individuals because the remedies that get done for you are done for you. And that's typically how it goes. However, if you would like a family plan or family options, just reach out to us, office@pillaycenter.com, and we are always happy to assist. Okay, can you please let us know in the fundamental and premier levels how many teachings we will receive direct from Dr. Pillai and what will they be? Okay, great question. So there will be the new teaching from Dr. Pillai on January 1st. That is in the fundamental level. The intermediate level will receive the January 1st plus January 14th new teaching. And then the premier level will receive all of those plus another session that happens probably around June, July in this year, but 6 months into the program to give us some more additional support from Dr. Pillai. Now, this program will be taught by his senior Pillai Center teachers, Mohini, Maya, Geeta, maybe Meena, myself, Sunny, Sucharita, perhaps Swamini Valley. There's a lot of teachers who are going to be involved, and we'll be selecting them based on the topic that is going to be presented at that time. So that schedule will all be worked out, and Dr. Pillai will know exactly what's taught. In fact, everything in that syllabus he selected. If you want to look at exactly what, I printed it all out, but if you want to look at exactly what's going to be taught, it's incredible. Like, for example, just on the Creating from the Inside Out program, the meditation, which he taught today, we'll be doing that. We'll be learning that a little more in depth. SHREEM BRZEE mantra, the quantamizing of the SHREEM BRZEE, will be taught a new PI technique, phonemic intelligence technique. Yoga Vasishtha's teaching, the observer is the observed. That's very new. Arakara mantra. Then some very unique and new teachings, for example, mantra from Shiva, a mantra from Agastya, soul genetics. Yeah, there's a lot of teachings. Just take a look at the syllabus and you'll see all of those. Now, those are all going to be from Dr. Pillai. He won't be coming on live to teach you, but the Pillai Center teachers will be. We will be using his techniques. We'll be using his recordings, right? So he will be there, energetically present, through the medium of his recorded content, because there's just so much of it. And what we've done is organize that incredible content that's been happening for decades and changing people's lives around the world for millions of people around the world. We are organizing it in a way that you will now flow through those topics to help you the most. Let's see what other questions we have. So they'll all be direct from Dr. Pillai in terms of the recordings that we use. And then they'll be supported and delivered by Pillai Center teachers, with the exception of those 3 live sessions, which will be in all, I already mentioned what levels they are in. So someone had a question. This is not the Genius program. That was a different session he did last week. Yes, you can buy the initiations, the one-day initiation separately, as I mentioned. Let's see. Please post your questions. I'm getting to them now. Yes, and if people are joining together, husband and wife, for example, a lot of people do just buy one course and then use it together, and that would be fine. If you want Premier Quarterly, that's not available because we have to provide you with different types of services, such as your astrology reading, your coaching, things of that nature. So, but if you need a different type of payment plan, or if you need some support in that way, write to us. We are very flexible. We often do as much as we possibly can to accommodate your needs. So if you have a special request, definitely let us know. Can anyone get the 14th initiation? Yes, if you purchase the bundle, which is in January 1st and January 14th. Now, here's a secret. If you purchase the fundamental year-long program or the quarterly, after you purchase that, you will be given an option to add the January 14th session to your cart and purchase that as well. So you can actually get both of them. You would just be paying in additional for it. So that only comes after you purchase fundamentals. Are there any other questions? Okay, so continue to post your questions. I'm going to move now into our free programs, everything that we're doing till the end of the year to support your prosperity and enlightenment, to support your evolution. Pillai Center is committed to your evolution and to providing as much free and valuable content as we possibly can, especially in times like this. We're moving into the new year and everyone's getting really excited about what they want to do differently with their lives. So to facilitate that, what we've done is created a host of sessions. Sucharita will be hosting sessions, I think it's almost every day this week, to help you get clear on your goals in different areas of your life, as well as help you understand which service at Pillai Center would be best for you moving into the new year. It could be this program, it could be a level of this program, it could be some personalized program. She's taking small groups of people in Zoom sessions to help work through your goals, as well as know what you might want to move into for in terms of services, or break down this course a bit more in terms of what would work best for you. That is happening all week this week. Next week, we have December 28th. Dr. Pillai will be joining us live for a follow-up to this session to talk specifically about quantumizing the SHREEM BRZEE mantra and what it means to have access to a sound at a quantum level. So that's December 28th. Next, December 28th through the 31st, Sucharita and I will be hosting 4 workshops, which will take the teachings that Dr. Pillai did here and work them into a way where it's easy for you to apply those in your life. How do you make them apply, right? He gave us teachings, he gave us techniques for 3 different topics. Now we want to help you actually incorporate those into your life so that it's meaningful and that you move powerfully into the new year with lasting change. So that is December 28th through 31st. So those are our free sessions for the end of the year. We also have chanting sessions going on. We have a fire lab that's happening on December 25th. Dr. Pillai is also doing a live teaching message on Christmas Day, the 25th. So a lot happening. And there's a link that will say, I think it's events for personal evolution, lists everything there. So you'll want to take a look at that. And that's available on PillaiCenter.com, one of the top banners. So that's everything that we have going on at Pillai Center. And we hope that that is helpful to you. All right, can you please post the link for the live? Yes, so if you are on YouTube chat, just go to the top of the chat. There is a pinned post, click on that. That gets you to the page, and then you just scroll down and you will see all the options for joining. And one of them is to do the 2 live sessions with Dr. Pillai, and the rest are for the year-long program. So there's your options, and then the quarterly. So I believe that's all the questions now. Please like this video. It helps our reach. Please comment. Please share. All the things that you can do to help share Dr. Pillai's wisdom with as many people as possible is very we appreciate it very much. So I think that's all the questions for now. The next time we will see you is one of Sucharicha's goal setting workshops this week. You'll receive information on that on the Events for Personal Evolution page. Then the next time you'll see Dr. Pillai is going to be on Christmas, December 25th. We'll give his Christmas message. And then you'll see him again on December 28th, where he will talk about quantumizing SHREEM BRZEE. So we wish you a blessed holiday season. We hope that you are invigorated and motivated to make change in the new year. And we invite you to join us on this one-year journey. We'll talk to you soon. Namaste.